So this is session T-28, configuring email on a mobile device. Let's get right into it with our objectives. Jerusalem, would you mind reading these for me?
Name the possible protocol that can be used to access email accounts and describe the steps to setting these up. Identify the most common major personal email system that clients may want to use and name these steps to setting up and configuring personal email accounts through these systems on both the iOS and Android operating systems. 3, identify common pitfalls when configuring or establishing email accounts on mobile devices, including any security concerns.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right. Maftuna, would you mind reading our key BSMs?
Sure. Behavior skills, adaptability, mindset, and persistence.
Thank you. So we need to be adaptable when working with tech, but you need to be able to work with an operating system that you're not necessarily used to. Like I have an Android device, so I need to be able to use iPhones as well. And it's important to stay persistent because it can be a little frustrating setting up email depending on the method that you go to do it. And we gotta push through it. So let's talk about our email protocols. Joseph, would you mind reading about POP3 for us?
Okay. POP3 is a client-server protocol in which email is received and held for you, the internet server. Periodically, the client email receiver check the email box on the server and download any mail. POP3 is designed to delete email on the server as soon as the user has downloaded it. It uses port 110.
Thank you, Joseph. Karen, would you mind reading about IMAP?
IMAP provides the user more capabilities for retaining email on the server and for organizing it in folders on the server. Also, it allows simultaneous access by multiple clients. IMAP can be thought of as a remote file server. It uses port 143.
Awesome, thank you. And Candido, will you tell us about SMTP?
What's up, Avery? SMTP is a protocol for transferring email across the internet. You can send email with SMTP and a mail handler receives it on the recipient's behalf. It uses port 25.
Perfect, thank you.
Configuring an email account requires a POP3. Okay.
Thanks. All right, so our big takeaway. You need to know our different email protocols, POP3, IMAP4, and SMTP. You need to know what port they're used for, or used on rather. So POP3 is 110. So go ahead, make a flashcard, POP3 110, IMAP4 143, SMTP port 25. These ports are extremely important, and there isn't a good way to memorizing them other than writing them down over and over again or studying with flashcards. I wish there was a better way, but there's not. So go ahead and make your flashcards now, and tonight just run through the 3 flashcards until you have it ingrained into your head, and you'll be fine. So if you see something that says email protocols, you should automatically think of POP3, IMAP, and SMTP. Super important that you recognize that these three protocols are for email. So POP3 and IMAP4 are for receiving email. So when you check your email, you're using either POP3 or IMAP. Okay, so this is the receiving end. Ooh. We're just gonna stop at REC because that was rough. I don't feel like getting my tablet out for it. SMTP, send mail to people. So when you are sending mail, you are using SMTP. So you're always going to be using SMTP in combination with POP3 or IMAP4. So the differences between POP3, IMAP are going to be POP3, it can only be in one place at a time. So it's either on the mail server, it's on your computer, or on your phone, whatever you're using to check it, that's where the email is. It's only in one place, and then it's deleted from the server. IMAP, it will retain the email across all of your devices, so it'll be on the server, you can see it on your computer, you can see it on your phone, all at the same time. It'll be on all three of those places. Are there any questions before moving on? Yeah, Candido.
How do you decide the best one to use as far as POP3 and IMAP4?
So it's preference. If you have the storage capacity, if your servers can handle holding all of the, all your emails on the server as well as on the devices connected to it. But if you don't have that storage capacity, POP3 clears that email off the server, so you have more storage space. So it really just depends. As always, the answer is it depends. And you'll also use whatever the company you're working for has for you. But there really is no
Thank you.
best for every situation. Yeah, no problem, Candido.
All right. It's kind of subjective. I see. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of tech is.
All right.
All right, so email protocols and security. Julian, would you read this one for me? Oh wait, 1 second. Tiztao, what's your question?
My question was, so the third one, so that's SMT, simple mail transfer protocol or send mail transfer protocol?
It's simple mail transfer protocol, but I remember it as send mail to people. That's just an easy way to remember it, because you're sending the mail to whoever. That's how I know that this is used for sending and these two are used for receiving.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Which OS uses which email protocol? All of them. They're not just for one OS. All right, so Julian, would you read this slide for me?
Yes, sir. Email protocol security. Most email servers have traditionally used secure sockets layer (SSL) or transport layer security (TLS) to encrypt the email transmissions for extra security. Also, many servers blocks their default ports, which is the reason email protocols create more secure versions on different port numbers. Secure POP3 POP3S uses TCP port 995. Secure IMAPs uses TCP port 993. Secure SMTPS uses TCP port 465 or 587. Finally, email servers configure other settings such as secure multipurpose internet mail extensions. SMIME, which is used to configure digital signature settings for email and contacts from the corporate address book. If the email server has security settings configured, email clients must set up the same security settings in order to communicate.
Perfect, thank you. So we need to know our secure ports as well. So POP3S, TCP port 995, IMAP-S 993 on TCP, and SMTP-S is 465 or 587. Go ahead, make 3 more flashcards and just work towards getting those port numbers memorized. If you see any question that is referring to security with email, your first thought should be going to SMIME. That is the secure protocol that we use for email. So secure multipurpose internet mail extensions, that is what we use for security in email. So Susan, when you hear about email security, what are you going to think about?
The SMIME.
SMIME. Leela, when you hear a question on security in email, what are you going to think of?
SMIME.
Yeah, Maftuna, when you hear about security in email, what are you going to think of?
SMIME.
There we go. Perfect. Security with email, we think of SMIME automatically. That is almost always going to be the answer to your question. Yes, Julian.
For SMTP secure, how do you decide whether to use 465 or 587?
Kelly, take this question for me, because I think there's a specific answer to your question, and I don't know if I fully have it.
Repeat the question. You're muted. You're muted.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear you. I asked, how do you decide whether to use port 465 or 587 in the SMTP-S?
Okay, so what that comes down to is if you look up near the top, you see the SSL or secure sockets layer and TLS. It depends on which protocols your email servers are using for their security. Secure sockets layer is actually a legacy technology. It is outdated. It is a cracked technology. Transport layer security is what is replacing it. But still, at a certain point, SSL is better than nothing. So depending on the age of the servers and their capabilities, you may use port 465, which would be SSL. 587 would be TLS. The easiest way to remember it is the older technology. SSL is the lower number. The higher number is going to be the newer technology. That's TLS.
So does that mean that for the other two, the 995 and 993, does that use TLS, both of them?
Well, what they'll say with that is it's SSL/TLS.
Okay.
In reality, it's just TLS.
Gotcha. Thank you.
So when they say both in the same port, it's typically the newer.
Okay. Thank you.
Good question, Julian.
Yeah.
Good answer, Kelly.
Yay.
All right. Let's talk about Microsoft Exchange. Let's see. Aster, would you mind reading this slide for me?
Microsoft Exchange. Microsoft Exchange overview. Microsoft provides a special type of email server called an Exchange server. This is used mainly in large business so that employees can access their email, calendars, and instant messaging from a variety of locations. exchange activities. No. Active Sync, EAS, is a Microsoft protocol used to sync Microsoft Exchange email, contact, and calendars across a range of mobile OS platforms. It has the capacity to set up and configure network connectivity and secure email options like setting password and the remote wipe or like a mobile device. The setup of Exchange is not different from other setup, but does require more information. Exchange server address, username and password for account, domain name for account.
Perfect. Thank you, Esther. So 3 things you need to take away. The things that you need to set up your Exchange account. You're going to need to know your Exchange server address. You're going to need to know the username and password for the account, and then the domain name for that account as well. The Exchange server address and the domain for your account will be provided from your company. So that's not information we just make up. That should be provided to you. Your username and password, that's where you get some say. Sometimes depends on the company, but it's very likely it'll be your first and last name at that company will be your username. All right. Email in mobile devices. So these are the apps for the different phones / operating systems that you're using. And this is on the right side will be the built-in email app that works with it. So Apple iOS, it'll kind of look like this, but it integrates with iCloud. It makes sense. Apple uses their iCloud storage. Android devices integrate with Gmail. And Windows phones integrate with Outlook. So just think about what they're related to. Apple, iCloud, Android, or Google Android is going to work with Gmail. Windows is going to work with Outlook. That's their proprietary. But just because you have an Android device doesn't mean that you can't access your Apple email or your Outlook email. You can still set it up across all of the phones, but this is their built-in email app. So good little image to take a screenshot of, and yeah. All right, so common email providers. So this little picture has all the emails you really need to know: Microsoft Exchange, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL, Outlook. So aside from the integrated services, there are common email providers such as Google, Yahoo, and Outlook that are easy to configure on each device. The only requirement to set it up is the existing email account and the password that you need for it. It's pretty simple. You click on the one you want. So if you have a Gmail account, you click on it, and then it'll ask for your username and password. All right. Some other common email apps. It is also possible to download the email provider app into the mobile device. Those apps may have more functionalities than the default service for emails on each device. So if email apps are pretty simple in general, but they're going to work better if you use their main service app. Like I use Gmail, so I would be better off using the Gmail app. If you use Yahoo, it might be better for you to use the Yahoo mail app. And the same for Outlook. All right, so configuring email manually. Let's see. Hunter, would you mind taking this one? Hunter, I think there's something wrong with your mic. Can't hear you. You might be muted on your actual headset.
That better?
Yep, perfect.
Hey. Mobile devices also enable setup or to set up standard corporate and ISP provider email configurations. The configuration is done manually and it is required to have the following information to complete the setup. One, the FQDN or fully qualified domain name of your POP3 server or IMAP4 server. This server receives the email sent to you, and so it's sometimes called incoming. Two, the FQDN of your SMTP server. The server sends your email to the recipient's email server, so it's sometimes called outgoing. Three, the port numbers used for both server types. And four, the security type used, if any is used at all. Apparently the next slides will show us the steps to configure emails manually on Apple, Android, and Windows Phone devices.
Perfect, thank you. So we need to know our fully qualified domain name for the POP3 or IMAP server. So that's where you receive your emails. Those would be provided to you by your company. Next, you'll need the fully qualified domain name for the SMTP server. So the server you're using to send your emails out, that would also be provided to you. Any port numbers that are used for both of the services. Once again, all of this information should be provided to you. These aren't just numbers we make up. And the security type used, if any. All right. Setting up email and Apple devices. So you click on the app that you are using. You'll go to settings and passwords, into accounts, tap add account. Then you'll tap other, tap add mail account. You'll enter your name, email address, password, and description for your account. Then you'll tap next. Then you can choose IMAP or POP3 to configure the information for the incoming mail server and your SMTP for the outgoing. Then you'll tap next. If it's done correctly, you can just tap save and it'll be done for you. So feel free to take a picture of this slide if you'd like to come back to it. It'll also be in the student paste. All right, so setting up email security in Apple devices. You'll click on advanced, toggle the on for SSL or TLS. You'll set the authentication method to password. If it's not already set to that, then you'll go back and then click SMTP listing. Toggle the on button for use SSL and set the authentication password or method to password and then go back again. That was a lab yesterday. Good. That means I don't need to spend too much time on this. That's what I like to hear. Susan, I might be a little bit over the time that you needed me for. So if you got to leave, we understand. It'll be recorded. All right, setting up email in Android devices. Let's get Jessica to read this one.
I actually felt that coming. On an Android mobile device, follow these steps. 1, click your device's email icon. On the page that follows, select Add Account. 2, type your email address and password and click Next. 3, select POP3 or IMAP. 4, on the next screen, enter your username, which is your email address, your password, the FQDN of the incoming server, the port number, and the security type, if one is in use. 5. Enter the FQDN of your SMTP server, the port number, your username, and your password. Also select require sign-in.
Awesome. And while I have you, what does FQDN stand for?
FQDN. Hold on. I would like to buy a vowel from Julian.
All right.
Fully qualified domain name.
Fully qualified domain name.
Go ahead, Julian. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you both. So we need our fully qualified domain names, and those will be provided to you. So setting up through an email, through an Android device is essentially the same as going through an Apple device. It'll just look a little different. These are the different steps and different screens you might see. All right, now setting up an exchange in Android devices. Rachel, would you mind reading this one?
Sure. To configure Exchange on an Android mobile device, follow these steps. Open the mail application, enter your email address and password. 2, click Next, and then click Exchange Account. 3, enter your name, username, password, and Exchange server address. 4, check Use Secure Connection and accept, is it AIISSL certificates?
It's all
I'll
SSL
accept all.
certificates.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why they capitalized all, but they did.
Thank you. 5, after authentication, check the boxes associated with the features you want to include, such as push, amount to sync, notifications, sync contacts, sync calendar, and sync calendar amount. 6, click Next. On the next screen, you need to give an account name and your name. This will be displayed on outgoing email messages.
Perfect, thank you. So all of these are pretty self-explanatory. When you're actually using the phone and you click on the email, once you get started, so opening the email application, you enter your email and password, it'll walk you through those steps. It's not really something that you'll need to have memorized how you're going to go through each one of these steps. It walks you through it. All right. Lorraine, would you mind reading this slide for me? Lorraine, we can't hear you if you're talking.
How's that?
That's good.
It keeps going back to a different device. I don't know. Anyway, set up email on Windows phone devices. 1 on Start. Click left to the app list, tap Settings, and then tap Email plus Accounts. 2, tap Add an account. Go to Other account. Step 3, tap the email address box and then type your email address. 4, tap the password box and then type the password. 5, tap the POP3 or IMAP 4, an SMTP service name, user, and password if required. And 6, tap Sign In.
Perfect, thank you. So once again, you'll just go in and follow the steps. It'll lead you through and you'll be able to sign in. All right, Cynthia, would you mind telling us about some pitfalls when configuring the email? She might have stepped away. So let's get Vincent. Would you mind reading this for me?
Pitfalls when configuring email. First, remember username and password. If you forget your email, username, or password, it is impossible to configure your email account on your phone. 2, know provider settings. To configure email manually, make sure you know your email provider settings. If you don't know them, you can look them up or contact your email provider. 3, error messages. If an email setup that has been working well for a while suddenly gives errors, not connecting or not downloading emails, it is likely that either the incoming or outgoing server is down or that the DNS server has quit working.
Thank you, Vincent. So some common issues: username, password, the provider settings. So that information that your company that gives to you, if there's an issue with that, that could be a common issue you might face. And different error messages could be a server's down or your DNS server isn't working as intended. All right, optional updated content. Julian, this answers your question that you had for Kelly earlier. SMTP with SSL is 465, SMTP with TLS 587. So this is an updated version to that other slide. So if you'd rather separate your flashcards like this, do that. The information's still mostly the same. What do we use SMIME for? Jessica.
Security.
Security.
Haha.
I knew you would know it. That's why I called on you. All right. Some more updated content. This is what it might look like from an Android device setting up email closer to today. And it could look even different because this updated content is still older than, what's most current. So feel free to go back and look through it if you would like. And I believe it is time to climb. So we're gonna do happy holidays. And I'll post this back in the chat. If you need the link to get back in, it's in the chat. We'll get started when we have a few more people join in. Can't see. I see. In case you guys missed it. All right, 18, that's pretty solid. Let's get started. All right, what is the default TCP port for SMTP? All right, Hunter taking the lead. Didn't accept your joining. Okay. Which email protocol commonly uses port 587? Hopefully you took notes. Cynthia, you can just answer them to yourself. And also when you go through the student pace, you'll be able to play through this. Oh, did we freeze? Okay, there we go. Hunter hanging on. Which standard is used to encrypt and decrypt email messages on mobile devices? I will lose my mind if we do not get this one right. That's not even one of the options, Steven. Nice, that should have been S-MIME. Say it again and again. It's always the answer. Which of the following statements about configuring email access on a mobile device is true? All right, and finally, what information do you need to connect an Android-based tablet to an IMAP account? Karen took the lead. Snuck right in. Well done, Karen. And Hunter and Rachel and Susan and Vincent, everybody else, well done. This is your first time seeing this information, and I'm going to be honest, it's a little difficult when memorizing these port numbers at first, just because there's not really a good way to associate the numbers with the ports. You kind of have to get creative. We have a few that
We have a mnemonic
kinda,
that'll help out with the group of them.
yeah, we have a mnemonic, but as far as associating a number to these letters, it's not always very clear. So please, please, please make flashcards and just every night just flip through 3 at a time. You know, that's how I learned it. Once we get our whole list of them, I just I made all the flashcards and then I did 3 a night until I got those 3 for sure, and then I added 3 more. And I would just do that until I got through all of them. And I passed, so it works. So our objectives revisited. Name the possible protocols that can be used to access email accounts and describe the steps to setting these up. Should be able to identify the most common major personal email systems that clients may want to use and name the steps to setting up and configuring personal email accounts through these systems on both the iOS and Android operating systems. And then finally, identify common pitfalls when configuring or establishing email accounts on mobile devices, including any security concerns. That is the end of the presentation. Any questions?